What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be checking out the best champions in 6.15 in my opinion for those who can carry the hardest in your games. This is another video with pawn window. The challenges are going to be up on the site for this week along with a new design layout as well. If you aren't sure, the site is Riot approved and you can get headsets, paysafecards, even games for literally just playing League either in their customs or in your normal ranked games. So you head over to the challenges, you find my name and you sign up. There's going to be a paysafecard though to win every time I talk about the site to say thank you, so throw the video a like if you do, but leave a comment down below to be entered. Anyway, let's get into this and we're going to start with the AD carry for a change. We're going to do something slightly different with the format, so show you what we had last patch. We had Ashe and Jinx, but this time we're going to shift it around a little bit. Ashe is going to be knocked to a number 2 spot, but because we talked about her last time, we're going to bring in Sivir. So Sivir is the easiest but one of the most effective you can play at the moment. She has a very easy lane, right? You push with your W, not many even can keep up with that. They're going to be stuck under their tower. Actually, basically it's they have to hit minions and use their spell on minions, otherwise they're going to be under the tower, which no AD carry wants to be, and that gives you a free lane because they're not using those spells or auto attacks on you. Your damage is actually good over a period of time. Those W bounces are going to add up, and with healing supports, it's your poke plus heals is actually really horrible to play against. You have this 3 item time bomb as well, so there's always the potential for you to carry regardless of what happens early. Even if you feed, it's pretty silly. I actually view her kind of as a semi-hyper carry in a state with her auto reset with her W and the W bounce crits. 1v1, okay, she is going to lose late game to higher range people like a Caitlyn for sure, but in the team fight, right, these bounces are going to hit the back line without even getting close. So those are the biggest things I think at the moment. You have heal supports, you're kind of a time bomb with your crits and your 3 items anyway. You have the spell shield to keep yourself safe and your ultimate to engage and start things. So Jhin is creeping into a number 1 spot for this patch. I put him 3rd last time, but it's gotten to a point where the meta has just shifted for him to be so much stronger as a result. You have these lower health supports which are easier targets for him to kill. You have stupid damage with your armor pen and crit build for late game as well. It's mid lane mages, right? Top laners are going to be less about dive and more about sustained damage or poke damage, and that's good for Jhin at the back of a fight. I think to sum it up, it's if you want to beat Jhin as an AD carry, the enemy AD carry, you have to play another top tier champion to even stand a chance. Any just okay or decent AD isn't really going to cut it and be able to keep up with his damage. So it's forcing opponents into picks is when you know you're really strong. Your 4th crit shot is insane. Your ability damage with Deathfire is really too high, and you have a snare and ultimate from range as well. Overall, you have a lot of different areas that are going to be very strong. My one to watch out for in 6.15 though for AD carries is Kog'Maw. He's kind of seen in the LCS a little bit, but with Wit's End into Runes and then Rage Bait now, that is amazing. 3 item power spike, and with a defensive support on Sensor, you're probably not going to die but kill everyone. So let's go on to the jungle next. Last patch we had Hecarim and Rammus. This time we're not talking about either of those two actually. So the meta has shifted a little bit into more AP heavy to counter Rammus basically, and Hecarim is banned too much to give a good indication, but I do think he's actually still strong to be honest. So before we do the top 2 though, I think the jungle role is more diverse than ever this season right now. There are so many good picks, but the 2nd spot for me is going to be Fiddlesticks. Remember though, these best champion videos from me are who can carry the hardest and who are going to be having the biggest impact. You have a massive team fight ult, you prey on lower health targets, which is exactly what we have now. The bot lane is really your ideal target though. You have 2 people to kill and it's such a good target for your ultimates. You keep using the cooldown there over and over and you'll keep getting stuff from it. You have a silly amount of damage even when behind or feeding. You can have a big impact and help to win, which is really important, and he's a very solo carry type of jungler. You really need the correct game knowledge yourself to know where and when to ult from and how to set up a big win from a team fight. You can do that whether you're ahead or behind. That's why he's going to take the 2nd spot. You're able to really affect the outcome of a game more than others. Rek'Sai, Zac, Graves for example are super good and can do loads of work, but Fiddlesticks will actually stick bad teammates on his back and kill everything. Gragas is going to be my number 1 for overall ability to impact a game and carry from the jungle right now. Your damage is very high early and you're able to kill everyone, which makes him a very good ganker, right? You have crowd control, damage, and you're slightly more tanky than others in a 2v2. Your flash E gank is almost a guaranteed kill. It's really hard to avoid if you've done it correctly and the enemy doesn't preemptively just flash away. The idea is really to get ahead early with ganks and then be a big frontline for your team later, but you're actually still going to be a threat. You have good engage, good protection, damage, and tanky. What's not to love about that, right? I don't think he's going to stay at the top for very long though, in my opinion. He's always good, but it's just this patch where he's really come into his own and been way more effective because of the other picks flying around the meta. Even against a Fiddlesticks, for example, he can ult him away, right? And his ultimate is useless. Same with Kennen or any dive-in threat you find. Jhin, he can interrupt his ult. Vel'Koz the same. A lot of these smaller smaller things are actually adding up to be a ton better. So my one to watch out for is actually Bloodrazor Jack's jungle. It sounds very odd, but as the meta kind of slows down a little bit, he has more time to reach the godlike late game stage that he's eventually going to hit. Okay, so let's go to the mid lane. Last patch it was going to be a Nivea and a Vel'Koz, and I still think both are good. A few more gankers have arrived rather than tanks in the jungle though, so it does kind of shake things up a little bit. Our second spot could easily be Vel'Koz, a Nivea, or even Ahri, but we spoke about all three of them last time, so we're going to shift them to the side and we're going to look at Annie for our number 2 spot. Annie is getting a lot better with these low health mages and supports flying around. Basically, like, her burst is going to be more useful this patch than it was before, which is helping her win way more games. Even though Riot tried to, and it kind of changed her away from being a flash ult machine, that's still going to be the best way to go. Like, you're not as effective against massive bruisers or tanks, but against a Ryze or a Sona, you're going to absolutely one-shot them. A lot of this is actually matchup stuff, so like Ryze is more popular right now because of his rework, and Annie legit like takes a massive dump on that guy. Azir, Yasuo, even like Cassio and Vlad as well don't stand much of a chance against her. Anything close range basically is going to be screwed because Annie will outburst you, but poke isn't as popular right now, even though it's starting to come back a little bit more, which does actually screw with her because you can't get in range. Now number 1 spot though is going to be back to Victor again. He's like the Ahri of season 6. You know how she used to be good no matter what, like always relevant and never a bad pick. Actually she still is, I think, but Victor is like the better version of that now. He is a really good laner phase. He has wave clear and the poke is good, like you have your shield and auto trade for harass as well. He has a lot more kill potential than people give him credit for. Your ult damage in team fights is ridiculous, but it's not just the damage part. Like, it's very hard for AD carries to get past it. You have this ultimate chasing you and the gravity field to zone you away as well, and you might not die, but you're going to spend so long running backwards you'll do no damage. This is actually a big reason why he's top tier. Even though he has loads of damage, it's very awkward to dodge any of it, and if you do, you're stopping any damage you do. That was a bit of a mouthful. Basically, as an AD carry, it's very hard to get through his ultimate or his gravity field to do anything in the fight, so you're basically useless. That's partially what makes him so well rounded, like good laner phase, good team fight, good late game, but you have the speed up and the gravity field to kind of round out your damage. But the Rylai's is a big thing actually. The one to watch out for is going to be Xerath though. So as more and more poke comes into play, I think this guy is seriously underrated, and he does a huge amount of damage up close or from range as well. It's a pain in the ass to play against, and he can carry big time. So for the top lane last time, we had Gangplank at number 2 and Irelia at number 1, but there has been a bit of a shift with some newcomers coming in, though Irelia and Darius could easily still be top 2 right now, but seeing as we talked about them before, let's move to Echo. So the new Triforce Echo is insanely strong at the moment. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but you pack so much damage now, especially if you run further of battle as well. It's taking a while to actually catch on in Europe and North America, but he's shot up to the most popular champion again over in Korea because of this build. Basically, it's going to make you more of a threat. Like, after the nerfs, the problem was tank isn't good enough because your base damage sucks, so you can't survive, but you can't out damage other carry laners either. This is more about the damaging part early. Like, you can kill your opponent now and getting a bit tankier after you have the Triforce, after you're out the lane phase. By the way, you should try Triforce into Frozen Mallet with Fervor if you get ahead. Like, literally nobody is going to be able to escape you ever 1v1, and you'll chase them down and just kill them. It's brutal for a 1v1 dominating your lane build. So a number 1 is going to be Gangplank though. No real surprise, I guess. I've mentioned him a fair amount recently, and I think he's just so strong, and people in the comments are kind of like, you fancy Gangplank, don't you? Because you can't stop talking about him, and I just think he's so good. He used to be a champion that I would say is good for high elo, bad for low elo, because he was kind of hard. Now that's not as true anymore. Your lane phase has like literally no pressure, and that's a big part of it because you can farm, you can sustain with your W. You just have to get gold and get items. You don't have to kill anything. You have your ult for cross map assist to get even more gold and help your team out, and barrels in fights are going to rip through everyone. Like, you can crush their back line from a mile away with triple barrels. Maybe I am hyping him up a bit too much, but with the armor pen build you have a much more reliable impact, and you can carry bad teammates as well. It's very much like down to how good you are, like the individual player playing Gangplank, not your team, and that's why he's so good for ranked play. So Kennen is going to be my one to watch. I talked about him mid lane actually before, but this time it's going to be top. He's getting so much better and is a monster in the lane phase. Aurelia is pretty good against Kennen naturally, but with her being banned so often, he can do well in most matchups now and go from like a good lane phase where he can get some kills to an amazing team fight. So last up is going to be support for this one, mainly because not much has changed from last patch, and we all kind of know where it stands because it's just a healer meta. Soraka was our number 1 last patch, and Janna was number 2, with Sona being broken, so we just left her out completely. This time we're going to be bumping Soraka down to our number 2 spot, even though Janna is a close third, I think. So as I said, we're in a healing meta, and Soraka is specifically designed to be a healer, so she's always going to be good, right? But it just lets you beat better players. If you're ever against Smurfs or just someone who is better than you, it's very hard to play play against, you kind of shut that down because you have to have like the enemy AD and support on the same page to kill you, which likely is not going to happen. Without being offensive to Soraka mains, I think it's a kind of brain dead playstyle in lane almost. Like, as long as you don't die, you're actually going to be fine. It's really not difficult as long as you can hit your Q. Actually, even if you don't hit your Q, it's still going to be fine because you can still heal anyway, but it allows your AD carry to bully people. Like, nobody wants to trade versus an AD with Soraka because they're going to heal him and it's just going to be a free lane. Like, more farm for your AD, more gold, and more carry potential. Sona is going to be our number 1 though. I didn't include her last time because she spiked so high after the changes, but she's still good even after a few nerfs. So you're going to think that healing is actually the problem, right? Like her W, her heal, and actually no, it's her ultimate. The cooldown of her aura going down when you rank up your ultimate means she can spam the heal over and over, and that is so hard to balance unless you make her heal numbers really suck, and then it's like, well, what's the point of picking the champion? I think Riot kind of bugger themselves with this one. Like, she has the damage and a lot of it in lane as well, but I've seen Sonas go like full AP. They crush 1v1, even the enemy AD carry, which is dumb considering if she doesn't want to do that, she can just go for heals and be a heal bot. My one to watch out for is going to be Taric though. I said it a few times, but honestly, I think he's like on the brink of just busting out. You can die very easily, you're good at protecting and going aggressive, you can kill these healers, but you also heal your AD, so it kind of like balances a little bit, you still keep up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and the new-ish format, I guess, looking from like last patch to this patch. Let me know what you think, like and share the video if you did, but let's go to the robots.